In today's episode, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The question, what if I can't pay my taxes? And if you're in that predicament right now, I want to let you know that you are in the right place. You do have options that don't involve you going to jail, the IRS coming and cleaning out your bank account, anything like that. All right, so let's get right to it and I'll explain what your options are if you can't pay your taxes.
Welcome to the Tax Relief with Timalyn Bowens podcast. Are you behind on taxes? Is the IRS threatening you or your business? Are you overwhelmed and confused about how to resolve your tax issues? Let's join Timalyn as she explains your options and how she may be able to help. Timalyn Bowens is America's favorite EA.
Hey family, welcome to episode 56 of the Tax Relief with Timalyn Bowens podcast. The tax deadline is next week. And if you are sitting there with your taxes completed and you have a balance, you have a very important decision to make. Are you going to file your taxes if you can't pay the balance? Listen, in today's episode, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The question, what if I can't pay my taxes? And if you're in that predicament right now, I want to let you know that you are in the right place. You do have options that don't involve you going to jail, the IRS coming and cleaning out your bank account, anything like that. All right. So let's get right to it and I'll explain what your options are if you can't pay your taxes. First off, take a deep breath. As I said before, you are in the right place. Now, in last episode, episode 55, I talked about the failure to file penalty and how that penalty can be up to 25% of the balance that you owe. Well, check this out. You can avoid that penalty by making sure that your tax return is filed on time. Now, with that being said, this is going to only give you an additional 6 months to get the return filed, and it's not giving you an extension of time to pay. However, what it is doing is protecting you from a penalty of 25% of the debt that you owe. So make sure that you either get that tax return filed by April 15th or get a timely extension filed. The next thing you're going to do is make sure that you don't panic. If you have been in tax compliance, which means in previous years you filed your tax returns on time, in previous years you haven't had a balance, then you may qualify for self-service with an OPA. Now, what an OPA is an online payment agreement. If your balance is under $50,000, you can go to the IRS website, set up an account, and create a payment plan to get that balance paid within the next 72 months. No questions asked, no additional information required, and by doing so, you set up an arrangement with the IRS, letting them know, hey, I acknowledge this balance. I know that I owe it. I just can't pay it in full. And this is going to protect you, one, from a levy. And a levy is where the IRS goes in and they take the money out of your account that they want to. Or they can garnish your wages by sending a letter to your employer. Both of these types of levies can be avoided by you setting up this payment arrangement. Okay? With the payment plan, which we also refer to as an installment agreement, you will be able to pay the balance over time. Now, with that being said, there will be interest that accrues that you will have to pay, and there will be a failure to pay penalty as well. So, while you can get up to 72 months, My recommendation would be to make sure that you get this paid off as soon as you can to avoid the additional cost of penalties and interest. Okay. Now, if you are preparing your tax return yourself using a DIY software, you don't have to wait until the balance is assessed, which means the IRS has sent you a letter to set up a payment arrangement. You can actually request an installment agreement when you file your return by using Form 9465, which is an installment agreement request. Same thing applies. If you can get this paid off within 72 months, you're going to put that on your request on Form 9465. Now, of course, I can show you better than I can tell you, which is why in the show notes of this episode, I'm going to include a link to a video that I did filling out Form 9465 so you have something to go off of. Okay? Now, if you can't get it paid off within the 72 months and you would need more time, you will have to fill out additional information. This is still going to be considered a payment plan. However, with this additional information, you can get up to 10 years to pay the balance off. But the thing is, if you go over the 72 months, you have to show this additional financial information on Form 433A or Form 433F. And I will let you know it is a tad bit intrusive. The IRS is going to want to know what bank accounts you have, what are the current balances in them, where are those bank accounts held. You'll also have to turn in information about other assets, such as your vehicles, your home if you have one. They'll want to know about your 401k. Okay, because the IRS is trying to figure out if you haven't paid us in full, where are your financial interests? And if you default on this payment arrangement, where can we go to ensure that we're still getting paid? So, again, it is best, if at all possible, you pay this off within the 72 months. Now, I mentioned being tax compliant before, right? So let's say you haven't had a balance that you couldn't pay the previous 3 years and you filed the previous 3 years on time, and maybe your balance is nowhere near 50,000. Maybe it's $10,000 or less. You, my friend, may be eligible for what we call a guaranteed payment plan. Now, this can be set up on the phone, or it can also be set up online or by mail. But with this, you have to set up an arrangement where you will pay off the debt within 36 months. If you want more information about that, I will also include a link in the show notes to purchase my ebook, Guaranteed Payment Plan. So here's the thing. There's the ebook that will walk you through the process, which is $97, or you can book a call with me to be on the phone with you, and I'll walk you through the process of setting up a guaranteed payment plan yourself. The difference there is if you work with me one-on-one, that phone call is $350. Okay? So if you're going to be able to do this in less than 120 days and the total amount owed is less than $100,000, you may qualify for a short-term payment plan. I apologize. Also, there is a long-term payment plan if it's going to be longer than 120 days. Now, there's also something else that I want you to check out. I mentioned that the tax deadline is April 15th, right? Which is also the deadline for you to make payment. There may be an exception to this for you, though. For example, I'm based in Louisville, Kentucky. During the month of February, 2025, so this year, the whole state experienced a tremendous amount of flooding. Okay. And even right now, we have record amounts of flooding in Louisville, Kentucky. In February, FEMA declared the whole state of Kentucky as the site of a natural disaster. As a result of that, the IRS has given an automatic extension for residents of Kentucky or businesses that are located in Kentucky of more than 6 months. If you are in Louisville, Kentucky, or Kentucky at all, and you're listening to this and you have a balance for 2025, you have an extension until November 3rd of 2025 to file your tax return and also to pay the taxes. Okay. If you don't live in Kentucky, you may still qualify for an automatic extension. For example, residents in the state of California also received automatic extensions if they were affected by the wildfires. You can check the IRS website to see if the area that you lived in was declared a natural disaster by FEMA and if you have an automatic extension of time to file and pay your 2025 tax return. You want to make sure that you have all the information that you need because you may be panicking and making the tax issue that you have bigger than it actually is. Okay? So remember, above all, if you have that balance and you haven't pushed the button to file your return yet, go ahead, get that filed ASAP to avoid any failure to file penalties. Second, remember that you do have options. If this balance is less than $50,000 and you can pay it off within 72 months, you can set up an OPA, an online payment agreement, by creating an account at irs.gov. And when you log in, once the balance has been assessed, which means the tax return has been processed and the balance is there, you can set up a payment arrangement. Okay? If you are preparing your return yourself, you can request an installment agreement by submitting Form 9465 installment agreement request with your tax return. All right. If you can't pay the taxes in full, it's not the end of the world. Again, you're in the right place. You're getting the information you need. Remember to take a deep breath and explore which option works best for you. Now, let's say you owe more than the 50,000, you can't get this paid within 72 months. You may want to consider working with a tax professional. I do own a firm, Bowens Tax Solutions, which is a virtual firm based in Louisville, Kentucky, and this is the type of work that we specialize in. Okay? So you can book a call at www.bowenstaxsolutions.com to see if you are a good fit to work with our firm to have us step in your shoes and handle this tax issue for you. Okay? But even if you don't work with me, make sure that you get the help that you need. And if you found this episode valuable, it would do my heart good if you would not only like this episode on whatever platform you're streaming it on, but if you would also share this episode with friends and family. Tax problems aren't something that we talk about, and you may not know that they even exist within your circle. But by sharing this, you're helping me on my personal mission to fill the tax literacy gap one taxpayer at a time. And I thank you. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen today. I'd like to thank Jim Ray Consulting Services for helping me get this message out to you. I hope you found the information helpful. Did you know 1 in 50 people have a tax problem? Please share this episode with your friends and family because you never know who may need help. Again, thanks for listening. Hey, just as a reminder, this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It provides a framework and possible solutions for solving your tax problems, but it is not legally binding. Please consult your tax professional regarding your specific tax situation.